Welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends. And no, Kieran, my little buddy, is not here today. He's on a stag do with his brother. For his brother, in fact. So he won't be joining me. I guess he'll be, would have had one too many when he comes back anyway. So it just seemed a bit pointless having him with me. Got a few things to talk about, not much. The game I've got over here on this side, if I keep looking away, it's Arsenal versus West Ham, or West Ham versus Arsenal, and at the moment it's 2-2 with 3 minutes to go. So that game is just finishing and Arsenal are just blowing it away, having drawn last week. But of course it all just counts against Manchester City in the end. As long as they don't cock anything else up, whoever wins that game wins the league. Well done, City. Great. Wycombe versus Morecombe. Morecombe versus Wycombe. 1-0. 1-0 to Morecombe. And guess what? Who cares? Who cares now? It's got to that stage. Am I one of these people that leaves the game 5 minutes before the end? No, I've never been that. Feel like it at the moment. Was planning to go to Portsmouth to watch the last game away. And today I was thinking, don't really fancy that. I really don't want to do that. Can't be bothered. And then I thought, well, that's not the right attitude. So I've talked myself into going, even though I must admit the enthusiasm seems a bit weak. We have to be honest, and we said last week, we said the week before, and probably the week before, the chances of Wycombe going up into the playoffs, pretty remote. We've been on the edge all this time, and the way we're playing right now, don't stand much of a chance. A minute and a half, still 2-2 with Arsenal and West Ham. What I've done, we can talk about, the game yesterday. What's the point, really? Can't beat Morecombe. Can't beat Morecombe is the honest. That's it. If you can't beat Morecombe, what the flip would we do in the Championship? Absolutely, we'd be slaughtered. It'd be worse results-wise than previous. The heart of the team seems to be missing. I'm going to do a little chit-chat today, and it will be only a little one, on who's to blame, managers or players. I have a habit of this time blaming the manager. Am I fair to do so? Tottenham had an incident this week, and we'll be looking at that regarding blaming the players. Let's look at Wycombe at the league table, League One, for the last 10 matches. I couldn't get one for the last 12, which is how long Bloomfield's been manager. Points-wise, 11 games, isn't it? Because we've picked up 12 points in the 11 games Bloomfield has been manager. Now, where would that stick us on the table? If we look, I can take the last 10 games and have a look. If we put the league together for the last 10 matches, where would Wycombe be in that league? And it's quite interesting who goes where, actually. If you look at the top 4, you've got Ipswich in the last 10 matches have picked up. Oh, that was close. Ipswich in the last 10 games have picked up 28 points. They've only dropped 2 points. They're bombing along up there. 1-9, drew 1 with scored 28 goals. Barnsley are in second, way behind on points, 22, 6 points less. Peterborough on 19 in 10 games. That is the sort of points that I reckon you need to get promotion over a season. 2 points a game on average is good enough to put you at least in the top bits of the playoffs, if not at the top. Then you've got Plymouth, again with 19 points. And then it starts to go a little bit AWOL with Burton in 5th, who have obviously started to improve now. And Portsmouth, Bolton, Charlton, Bristol Rovers, Lincoln, yes, that's 10. And we still haven't mentioned Wycombe. Exeter, Fleetwood, Cheltenham, Milton Keynes. Yes, even Milton Keynes are doing better than Wycombe at the moment. Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday are in 15th. They have really been going downhill. West Ham just are having the chance at the moment with, oh dear, Sheffield Wednesday, yeah, in 15th. And then in lovely 16th, it's Wycombe. We would be in 16th spot. At least we wouldn't be in the bottom 4, would we? Just. And below us is Derby. So we've got the 3 together. Sheffield Wednesday, Wycombe and Derby in 15th, 16th and 17th for the last 10 games. All within the 13, 12, 12. So Derby have done as bad as us. Won 3, drawn 3, lost 4. At the bottom, you've got Forest Green with only 4 points, and then Oxford with 4 points. So if I just carry on reading it down, Wycombe 16th, 12 points. Derby 17th, 12 points. Then we've got Cambridge. Now we play Cambridge Tuesday. Cambridge are doing. Shouldn't have football in the corner, should I? Goodness, 2 minutes to go. Do I want Arsenal to score? I do. Oh, no, not like that. Cambridge are then next to us, which is 1 point less. We play Cambridge on Tuesday, and they are equal with us. It's a 50-50 game. Anyone can win. Then we got Shrewsbury, Morecombe in 20th, who we lost to. And, of course, they've picked up 3 of their 7 points in the last 10 games off of us. Now, that tells you something on how good we are, doesn't it? And then you've got Accrington, Port Vale, Oxford and Forest Green. If for the next 5 games it carries on as it is, we'll come a bit further down, about 10th. But Oxford will be relegated. Oxford will be relegated on current form. Now, if you look how long it's been since Oxford have actually won a game, it's been a while, actually. Do you remember when we played Oxford and we beat them? That was the start of them not winning a game. And that was a long, long time ago. I'm just going to find it for you. They lost 1-0 to Bolton yesterday. And so, how have they been getting on? Well, they're going to be relegated. I can't see they're not. They have, the last time they won, funnily enough, was against Ipswich on the 21st of January. Since then, they lost to Wycombe, lost to Burton, lost to Barnsley, lost to Shrewsbury, drew with MK Dons, lost to Plymouth, lost to Cambridge, lost to Bristol Rovers, lost to Lincoln, lost to Derby, drew with Morecombe, drew with Peterborough, drew with Sheffield Wednesday, drew with Port Vale and lost to Bolton. That has been, the game's finished 2-2, not great. So, and their run-in is Portsmouth, Barnsley, Cheltenham, Forest Green, Accrington. So, and Accrington are doing pretty awful as well. Forest Green are doing pretty awful. Cheltenham are in the mid-table. Barnsley are second. They ain't going to win that one. And Portsmouth are sixth. They're not going to win that one. So I reckon Oxford will be down in League 2. And of course, we will be meeting Gareth Ainsworth again, won't we, next season, the way it's going? Or, well, actually, he probably won't still be at QPR. He'll probably get the sack. I do want to talk a bit about the music. I've actually managed to put one of the albums I've bought up there just recently. I'll look out. My wife's doing some printing. So mind the printer making a bit of a noise. Other conversation I want to get into is, do we blame managers or do we blame players? Well, something happened this weekend, didn't it, with Tottenham. One of their players at Tottenham was brought on as a sub. He lasted 20 odd minutes and was taken off. Every time he touched the ball, the Tottenham fans booed him. When he made mistakes, they booed him. And when he went off, they booed him. Is that fair enough? Whose fault is it? And it was interesting reading what Tottenham fans had to say about their own fans booing their own player. His name is, I'm just trying to get this up. It was Davinson, not Davidson, Davinson Sanchez. It's been pretty awful for him. But he was on the pitch for 23 minutes. He's had a shocking season. But is it fair enough to boo him? The Tottenham fans, generally, most of them thought, yes, it's okay to boo him. Reasons, well, he's paid a wage. And if he ain't worth it, he shouldn't be there. He should ask to leave. If he's not good enough to play for the team, he should put his hand up and say, I want to leave. I sort of get that. The problem is that footballers are cuddled since the age of 6 and told they're the best and they're brilliant and they're brilliant and they're brilliant. And when they're not brilliant, I think it's a little bit harder for them to take. I feel sorry for him, all right? I do feel sorry for him. I don't think we've discussed this before about me booing Wycombe. I wouldn't. Only done it once when I thought they weren't trying. He was clearly trying. He's just not good enough. So should he ask to leave because he ain't worth the money? I think he probably should really ask to leave. I think he's not good enough, shouldn't take the money, should go. But whose fault is it? Who bought him? Who is it? The owners? Whose fault is it Tottenham aren't playing very well? Is it the manager that Tottenham aren't? In the end, they've got Kane up front. Now, everybody jumps up and down about Kane, saying he's the best thing since sliced bread for England, etc. Does Kane play okay for Tottenham? Is it the team don't put the effort in? Or is it the manager and the lineup? I think managers, on the whole, survive for a limited period of time. You get approximately, I think, if you're any good as a manager, you will get at most 3 years. I think there are the occasional changes. We had that with Ferguson at United, and you had it at Arsenal. Maybe he didn't win the league very often, though, did he? He kept winning the FA Cup. And I think we had it with Ainsworth, which is why I jumped up and down about him leaving, because I think now we've broken that mould, I don't think we're going to get it back very quick. You don't see it in other football teams. The reason I liked Ainsworth was we always played better than we were. That doesn't mean we won things or cups, but we always played better than we were. Now we're not going to. We're going to play as we are. And I think managers stand a chance for about 3 years. And what it takes is a number of players to build a team around the manager. That takes the players and the manager to take a position in that club. You have levels of leadership, and you need the manager to be respected at the top. You need the captain to be respected as captain. Then, as Ainsworth had, the next set of players were respected for who they were in the team, and so on. And everybody fought for the team, including the manager. The problem at places like Tottenham and Chelsea, for instance, is that once the players are worth more than the manager, I think you're in trouble, because footballers are selfish. And I think that includes Wycombe. I can think that includes most football teams, where you want to play well, you want to be picked. I mean, if you were in a football team and sat on the bench as a striker and Ollie Wally Wally up front scores a hat trick, do you cheer like mad because your team are 3-0 in front, knowing you're not going to get a game? Or are you really a bit bitter about that? Are you hoping that he'll get tripped up and get a little knock in the knee so you get your chance to get on that football pitch? Selfish. Players are a little bit selfish. They have to be. It's part of the job, I think. But it has to be so much. And there has to be that team spirit. There has to be that thumping. There has to be that joining together. They pretend, some teams, don't they, that they all have that little cuddle beforehand. I think that's a pretend. That's a trying to. Every now and again, it will come together. But I don't think it's very often. And I think once you've listened to your manager do the same speech for over 3 years, I don't think it works anymore. I think 3 years at most, in fact, probably a lot less than that. And so Graham Potter at Chelsea, not a hope. It got such a big team, so many players, all with the biggest ego. He never had a hope. Ainsworth at QPR, I don't see that he's got a hope. Those players are bigger than him. They've been further than him. They're never going to look at him and think he knows. They're going to think, manager, Wycombe, manager. Well, I know more about it. He was playing football, sure, but that was 20 years ago. They're not going to respect Gareth Ainsworth. Okay, they're going to know about the style of football he played, etc., etc. That he never stands a hope. Potter, Brighton, walks into Chelsea, where all the players earn a bomb. What hope has he got? He hasn't. So every now and again, it might work. Who's to blame? Players or manager? Well, who knows? They're all trying their best for themselves. I think the only thing you can criticise the manager on is the style of football. And you can tell when it works, you've got to pat the manager on the back, because he's got a group, which is his job, a group of people that fitted together, and that was his job. He doesn't choose which players to pick, to buy. I mean, he doesn't choose. He's not the trainer. He's not this. He's not that. In the end, his job is to put 11 players on that football pitch and get them to work as a team. If it doesn't work, it's not necessarily his fault. But if it does work, it is a pat on the back for him. Bloomfield, is it Bloomfield's fault? Who knows? Ainsworth, when he left, it left with him. That's the point. It left with him. And Bloomfield's got to start again. And he's got to now build a team based around him. And I wonder whether you can do that with the players that are there from the Ainsworth era, or whether he has to start again with young players or players from League Two that he can say, look, I played for this team, I've done this, I've done that, and they look up and think, wow, yeah, he's good, rather than thinking, well, I was in the same team as you and I'm a better footballer than you ever were. I'm not sure that's the way where to start, and that's why I think Bloomfield, he needed more time away from Wycombe at other teams lower down to get the hang of it, and I don't think he's got the hang of it. I think Klopp needs to leave. Pep Guardiola, I think, it doesn't take skill for him to do what he does. I think he just buys the right players, and he's got that ego himself. You can see that. He can do whatever he bloody likes and they win. Other teams, I think, doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. I think Manchester City and the money is a complete difference. And take a look at Newcastle. Eddie Howe was considered to be absolutely brilliant. Newcastle, I feel, at the moment, aren't going to. It's going to take a few years of money before they do anything, and I'm not sure Eddie Howe will be any good for doing it. And pick any other team. But that's my opinion. Managers, but no, don't boo the players. Maybe have a little word about, I think you need to leave because you ain't good enough for this team. Okay. Anything else? Well, we can look at the results, but you're probably bored of my voice now. And Wycombe aren't getting in the playoffs, thank goodness, because we're nowhere near good enough. And I will go and watch them play Portsmouth. I won't be watching them play Cambridge. Don't know whether anybody is. I'm going to have to start backing them out, aren't I? And I'm never going to have that manager unless Pep is particularly interested in coming to Wycombe. I think that era has gone past. I've got to stop moaning about it and back my football team. I'm going to start doing that, I think, rather than just whinging as a 60-year-old whinger. Okay, thanks very much for joining me. Kieran will be back next week, and it'll be a far more entertaining show, I'm sure. Oh, I've just got to mention the music. Let's play a little bit of that music. I've got to find it on here to tell you all about who it actually is, etc. Now, I bought this only yesterday, and it's by a guy called Stephen Thelen, by the way, and it's called Fractal Guitar 3. Must keep that away from the speaker. He was working on 4 albums back in 2021 with a number of different artists, including Colin Edwin, who people might recognise the name, but I doubt it, from a band called Porcupine Tree, or was. This is very, very odd music. He comes from Zurich in Switzerland, as you all know. He's in Switzerland. This came out in September 22, this album. It's post-rock, I suppose. And I really love it. I think it's really good. And take a listen, have a look. His name is Stephen Thelen. Have a listen on YouTube and Bandcamp and all the others. Bandcamp you can join free. Have a listen to anything you're quite interested in. You let you listen to albums twice through with no adverts, and then you might get. Then you can buy it and save it on Bandcamp and download it. Have a listen, Stephen Thelen, and I'll say goodbye.